maple syrup. Please pass the maple syrup. Do you know where this tasty topping comes from? There's a hint in its name. As you read, think about the different tools you need to make maple syrup. Boys and girls, pause the video while you write your first name, last name, and date at the bottom of your Scholastic News. How to make maple syrup. Maple syrup comes from maple trees. It goes through a lot of steps to get to your table. How is it made? If you were a maple syrup maker, here's what you would do. Step 1. Put a tap in a tree. To make maple syrup, start in the forest in February or March. You'll need a maple tree, of course. Drill a hole into the tree trunk. Don't worry, this won't hurt the tree. Put in a tap. The tap is a tube that goes into the middle of the tree. Hang a bucket under the tap. What's the bucket for? You'll see in a few weeks. For now, just leave it. Go back inside and warm up. Step 2. Let the sap flow. Spring is coming. The weather is getting warmer. And something is happening inside the maple tree. Sap is flowing. Sap is a sweet, sticky liquid inside some trees. It flows through the tree, and it flows out of the tap into the bucket. The bucket fills up with sweet sap. This sap will get turned into thick, yummy syrup. But right now, it is still thin and watery. Step 3. Turn it into syrup. Take the sap to your stove. Ask an adult to turn the stove up high. The sap needs to get really hot. Soon the sap boils. Some of the water in it evaporates. The water turns from liquid into a gas. It turns to steam. Keep the sap boiling for a few hours. The sap gets thick and dark. Now it's syrup. Step 4. Enjoy it. Let the syrup cool. Now you can finally eat it. You can put it on pancakes or waffles. Some people like it on ice cream. This ooey gooey syrup took months to be ready, but it was worth it. Yum! By Blair Ransford. This is a maple tree. From tree to treat. Drill a hole in the tree trunk. Put in a tap and leave the bucket behind. Step 2. When the weather gets warmer, the bucket fills with sap from the tree. So here's the tap and here's the sap. Step 3. Put the sap on the stove. Let it boil until it gets thick and dark. So this is the sap, and see all the steam that's coming off? Step 4. Eat it. Pour it on your pancakes and enjoy. It came from a tree. Read the chart about things that come from trees. Fill in the parts about maple syrup. Then answer the questions. Object, what kind of tree it comes from, what part of the tree it comes from. So we have rubber boots. They come from rubber trees. And the part of the tree that it comes from is the liquid from the bark of the tree. Chocolate comes from the cacao tree. The part of the tree that it comes from is the seeds that grow inside the pods, and these are the pods here. So you need to do maple syrup. Use your Scholastic News to say what kind of tree it comes from and what part of the tree it comes from. Pause the video while you answer those two questions. Question 1. Which one comes from the cacao tree? Is it the rubber boots, the chocolate, or maple syrup? So look for the cacao tree and decide which one it is made from the cacao tree. Question 2. Chocolate comes from blank that grows in pods. Does it come from rubber balls in the pods, leaves that grow in the pods, or seeds that grow in the pods? Use the chart to find out where chocolate comes from in the pods. Question 3. Which two are made from a liquid in a tree? Rubber boots and chocolate? Chocolate and maple syrup and rubber boots. Which two objects were made from a liquid from trees? Rubber boots and chocolate, chocolate and maple syrup, or maple syrup and rubber boots?
How to make maple syrup. Do you like maple syrup? Would you like to learn how it's made? I can show you. Hi, I'm Katie Bricker, an editor at Scholastic. I live here in Vermont with my husband Ben and our dog Buddy. Every year, we make our own maple syrup from the maple trees in our backyard. Making maple syrup is also called sugaring. Let's see how to get started. In wintertime, we drill holes in the maple trees. We put in tools called tacks. Then, late in winter or early spring, we put plastic tubes help suck the sap out of the maple trees. I use a computer to see how much sap is being collected. When they tap the trees, it doesn't hurt the trees at all. If you think about it, during the season, birds will peck holes in the trees, bugs and all sorts of things. So we only take a fraction of the sap that the tree needs to stay alive, so it doesn't hurt the tree at all. This is the sugar house behind me, as well as our boiling room and our evaporator. All that sap flows through those plastic tubes down to the sugar house. That's where the workers cook the sap. Look at our giant evaporator. When the syrup is ready, it goes into bottles. Some of those bottles may end up in a store near you. Not all plenty syrup you can buy is maple syrup. Some people make it out of corn syrup, or some sort of different type of sugar, but real maple syrup uses sap from maple trees. Are you hungry yet? Are you wondering where to find a pancake?